Hi YouTube, Rob here with another Bible review. I just want to do a quick review of this Bible. It is a Bible that I use a lot, and I really find it a helpful Bible. I don't agree with all the notes, and it is a study Bible. I think that goes with most Bibles that have study notes. You have to sort of sift them and realize that they're not the Word of God. But I find this one very, very helpful. This is the NLT Life Application Study Bible. Sorry, I just lifted up to light. There we go. You can see the spine there by Tyndale Publishers. It is the large print version, and it is a big Bible. And this one I got very, very cheaply, but it is a Bible that I use a lot. I do apologize. My camera seems to keep trying to focus in, but it is a miserable day outside, and the light coming in through the window is not good. So let's have a look at this Bible and why I like it. We'll just go and look at the outside. It is a bonded leather Bible. It has gilded edges, although these are starting to become worn now because I use this Bible, I say, a lot. You can see there it's got sort of scratches and things, but it's still not too bad. It's got one single thin ribbon. It does have a head and tail band of sorts, although it's not showing up very well in the light. Just black, and just black and yellow maybe. It's hard to see because it's not that clear. It's very plain spine, quite a flexible Bible, even though it is bonded leather. It has a paste down liner. I would say it's quite a heavy book, so I'm not sure how long this will hold up, but it's not doing too bad at the minute. And because it only cost me a very, very small amount of money, I'm not too worried about it. It is a workhorse of a Bible. Now, generally, I tend to read quite literal translations of the Bible, so I prefer to the King James, ESV, NASB, New King James, that sort of thing. But I do like reading the NLT. It's by some it's probably considered a guilty pleasure, but I really, really do like using the NLT, and especially I like using it because we are involved in an outreach in my job. We have an homeless outreach, and a lot of the guys who we deal with are not biblically literate. And so they struggle with some of the more sort of, literal translations. It can be quite hard to understand for these guys. So the NLT is a great Bible for sort of outreach. It is very simplified. Obviously, because it is a thought-for-thought translation, then you're going to have some trade-offs there. And it's good if you can use that alongside a more literal translation. But I really enjoy using this. So the Bible itself is 6 3/4 inches wide. I think it's 9.5 inches tall. I did measure it earlier on before I started this video, but then I've forgotten what it was. Have another quick look. Yes, 9.5 inches tall, and it is 2 inches thick. So it's a big Bible. It's a heavy Bible. I do have a smaller copy of this, a very sort of hand-sized copy of the NLT Life Application Bible, which I've had for many, many years, and that's the one I tend to carry with me. But this one's not really a carrier; it's a heavy Bible. So let's have a look inside. It is a sewn binding, so it stays flat. That's one thing with the Tyndale Bibles; they do stay flat. It has presentation pages, as you can see here, for marriages, births, deaths, etc., etc. I've noticed just here that seems to be coming away from that, but I think that's just the card stock page. I don't think there's any problems there. And then you've got the half title page and then the title page, and we've got that just the weight of the Bible. You've got that the creased page, and everybody seems to get one in the Bible. You can see there it's sort of been chewed up and creased and what have you. And then we've got the copyright page, and then this is the what it comes in, the different editions. So it's leather-like, bonded leather. I don't think they do any sort of premium versions of this. Now, this is the older NLT Life Application Study Bible. So they have just updated it in the last 6 months, I think. And so it is slightly differently laid out. I think looking at the reviews I've seen on the internet, I prefer this, unless they're going to do a large print version. I think the smaller print, the standard size version is I'm not keen on the print, but I do like this one's laid out. Now, for those who are familiar with the NLT, you know the translation is a very dynamic, thought-for-thought translation. Some places where I really don't like it, how they've rendered it, but on the whole, I like it. It's a great reading Bible. I'll just go through some of these articles here. It shows you the translators, the contributors. But the Life Application Bible, if you want to just pause that, there we go. You can read that if you want to pause it. It is basically what it says. It has study notes, it has helps, but how we apply the Bible text to our own lives and what it means to us, because we can read these things and we can often think, well, that's very nice, but that doesn't really make any difference to me. But the study notes are geared to application. But not just that, but there's a lot of sort of information, sort of historical. It's full of maps. This Bible's full of maps, full of really, really helpful tables and charts and other information. Now, the reason why I'm not overly keen on all the study notes in this Bible is because it comes from an Arminian perspective. Now, for those who know that, basically this is a sort of the Arminian system is a synergistic system, is that we cooperate with God, that we decide to save ourselves, and God provides Jesus and so on and so forth. Whereas I myself, particularly, I'm from a more Calvinistic background, and I believe that it is a monergistic system where God, we're incapable of saving ourselves. We're incapable of making a decision for Christ, and we are lost until God intervenes in our lives and saves us. So, but the notes in this Bible are particularly, not all the way through, but there are one or two notes that are sort of from an Arminian perspective. But that aside, most of the Bible is great. So you've got book titles. You've got some really, really good information down there. So key verses, dates, everything sort of to hand. It's really, really handy in that way. And it gives you a wee sort of almost like a devotional kind of introduction to that. You see at the top here, you've got a sort of timeline running across the top of the book. It shows you what's top of those 2 pages, shows what's happening. And it gives you like a breakdown, the blueprint. The story is how it works out, and the mega themes and things like that. And then we see the mega themes continue there. And then we have a map, key places in Genesis. All very, very helpful stuff. And then each chapter has, or each section has a wee introduction there, tells you what's in the passage. And then we have the study notes. And so there's really good stuff. You can pause this and read a few of those. And there's some stuff there, some apologetic stuff. Who created God? Simple statement that God created the heavens and the earth. One of the most challenging concepts confronting the modern mind. And there's some really, really good stuff in there. The whole Bible is geared to that. We have these articles here. Beginnings about, talks about evolution. We've got days of creation. There's lots of stuff that is really handy. What the Bible says about marriage, gives you passages. It is really, really good. And if you're doing any sort of small group study, or if you're dealing like as I do with guys who don't know the Bible, really, really good. Now, one of the things that this Bible has is character studies. And here we have Adam. and it gives you a character study about Adam. You can read that if you want to read it. And it gives you things like strengths, accomplishments, weaknesses, and mistakes, lessons to learn from his life. What can we learn from Adam? And we get there's a key verses about him, and they are dispersed throughout the Bible. There's a lot of notes. Now this print I think it's around about a 10-point font, and it is a really, really good, clear and readable font. Now the paper isn't the greatest, as you can see some show through there, but actually it is really not a problem for me. It is pretty good. It is a single column text, it is a paragraph setting, and it does have references on the inside, which I really, really like as well, because it forces the text to the outside of the Bible, and you are not seeing on the whole, and you've got quite a lot of, for instance here, you're not seeing the text disappear down into the gutter, slide off into the gutter. So that's a really, really handy. And like I say, they have changed the layout of this, and I prefer, looking at the reviews on YouTube as I've seen, I prefer this setting. And so, yeah, you've got a lot of stuff in here. Bible nations descended from Noah's sons. It's all really, really handy stuff, and it's interspersed with maps and charts and lots and lots of other things. So you've got another Bible character study there on Lot, and again the maps. So we'll just scoot through a wee bit. We'll go into the poetic section. Well, we're in Judges, First Samuel. So the problems with having a king. So you're looking at when the Israelites asked for a king. And we see the problems there that are from Israel's history. When the people asked for a king, it wasn't what God, wanted for the Israelites, but He allowed them to have that. It was obviously ordained by Him, but there we go. So another one, a character study of Saul, and like I say, there's some just maps and charts and some really, really helpful information. So I'll just nip through into the Psalms, and you've got here in the Psalms, you've got reasons to read the Psalms. You've got some helps when you want to find comfort in the Psalms, to meet God intimately, to learn a new song, to learn more about God, to understand yourself more clearly. And it gives you some really, really helpful things in here. I say it is in poetic format, the Psalms, again, single column. But there's some really, really good stuff. How God is described in Proverbs there. And these are just, I'm not picking these for any reason. I'm just randomly choosing them. There's so much stuff in here. So there you've got Isaiah, a map of Assyria, and the Assyrian invasion. We'll go through quick, because I don't want this video to be hours long. God's object lessons in Jeremiah. Pause that if you want. And then we'll just go straight through to the Gospels. We have in between the Gospels the time between the Old and New Testaments. There's a wee couple of pages there on that, and then straight into the New Testament and into Matthew. Now this is a red letter text, and I have a lot of, again, character study on Joseph there. I'll show you what the red letter is quite good, actually. It's dark enough. It's not a pinky colour. It's quite a dark colour. It looks darker with the naked eye than it does on the camera, I must admit. Then we got 7 reasons not to worry. There in chapter 6 of Matthew. But it is a red letter text. You can see it is a good red letter. It does have parallel passages as well. So where in the Gospels these are paralleled, we'll see Mark 12:38 to 40, Luke 20 to 45. Now these numbers, the 197 and 196, I'll show you where they correspond. When you get to, I think, when you get through John's Gospel, there is a harmony of the Gospels, and each one of those numbers corresponds to. Sorry, I went too far then. So 196 and 197, wasn't it? So there we go, 196. Religious leaders cannot, and it gives you the parallel passages where they occur. So that's very handy as well. And the harmony of the Gospels. We have the parables of Jesus, comparisons of the four Gospels, parables of Christ. I think it's the miracles there, Jesus' miracles on that page. Messianic prophecies and their fulfillments. And then you're into the Acts. But I can certainly recommend this. You can get the Life Application Study Bible in a number of translations that have done it in the NASB, the New King James, NIV. I don't think they do it in an ESV or a CSB as of yet, but maybe that will change. But so if you're not keen on the NLT, then you can. There are other options by other. You can get this in different translations. But I really like the NLT. I think it goes really well with the Life Application Study Notes. And reading it, when you're reading quite a literal translation, I've always find this as a wee bit of a breath of fresh air to read. I wouldn't use it as a probably primary translation for serious study and word study, because it does blur the lines because of its dynamic thought for thought translation philosophy. But there are some really good stuff in. So there we got the book of Timothy. I'm going to the back just quick. We'll go beyond Revelation, and we'll go here. And then again at the back there's some really good stuff. So Revelation, what we know about eternity there, and then we have a Christian workers resource. So your Revelation finishes there. And a Christian workers resource. So if you're leading somebody, if you want to do an evangelism, there's a, how to talk to people, how to tell people, how to share the gospel with people, which is really, really helpful. Talks about, why we can't get a relationship with God because we're sinners, why is sin, who has sinned, what's so bad about sin, and it gives you some really, really helpful information there. Then it gives you, if somebody you are involved in a new believer, it gives you helpful information there to share with that person. So mining the treasures of Life Application Study Bible. There's some really good information there. And then tells you what to do. You've been asked to speak on a certain passage, how to use this study Bible to help you do that. And there's some really, really good information. Here you've got a reading plan, 365 a year, read the Bible in a year reading plan. And then you've got the Master Index, which is not sort of a concordance. There is a concordance as well. But this gives you sort of all the Life Application Study Notes. So circumstances, their differences, difficulties, dignity, despair, why you don't have to despair. This is all your Life Application Notes. So if you're looking for a certain topic, or you've been asked to speak on something, or you're doing a small group on something, this is very, very handy. Go through beyond this and into so we've got index to the charts. So all the charts and helps, which is really, really handy if you're looking for something in particular. Index to the maps that come in the text. And then you have an index to the personality profiles. So all the character studies are shown there, so it shows you how many there are. There are a lot. You can have a pause and see how many there are. It goes on to the other page as well, so you've got those at the top as well. And then you've got your concordance, dictionary cum concordance, which runs for a number of pages. And then we've got that chewed page again. Look there we are. The chewed page, and then we have the Tyndale maps printed on a non-glossy, well, sort of semi-gloss card stock. It's not quite glossy. It doesn't have a lot of sheen. Very colourful maps, very nice maps actually. Very handy. There's a lot of information on them, but you know, there's a lot of those in there. I do like the maps in this Bible, but there are so many maps in the text, in the actual way you actually want them. Oops, I've got a wee devotion. And there's a card start, and then there's the paste down liner. So that's a wee devotional thing I've got in there from the Choice Gleanings calendar. But that's it, basically. It is a big Bible, but I really like the Life Application Bible. And I think it's one that I use quite regularly. It's handy for preaching. Even if you don't use it as a main translation, you can do your work, your sort of exegesis and sort of really sort of deep sort of textual work in a more literal translation. But this is handy for what does this mean to the people I'm preaching to? How can I get this across to people? And so this is a really, really handy Bible for that. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I'm not sure whether you can actually get this anymore, but if you go back to the start of the video, you'll see the ISBN numbers for this. Like I say, it is a bonded leather cover. It's actually really, really good bonded leather. It's not. I've had my other smaller hand size version of this for about 10 years now, and the bonded leather is still really, really good. It is quite a flexible bonded leather, so it's actually good. And the cardstock liner is it's almost like a vinyl. It looks like so it's quite a solid Bible. But yeah, that's certainly a recommendation, a big thumbs up from me. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful. And until I see you next time, have a great day, and God's blessing go with you. We'll see you soon. Bye now.